people of YouTube, Sister Danger here. I was going to make a video today on a completely different topic, but then this little gem from the BBC's The Big Question came out this morning, and I was compelled to make a response.
Well, so first of all, let's just start at the top. Does social media reveal men's... I mean, absolutely, of course it does. And we've known that these attitudes are out there for a long time.
Does social media demonstrate men's hatred of women? This question is already front-loaded with a bias against men.
Is it allows people to access you when you should be safe in your home?
Social media does not jump off your computer screen and follow you around the house insulting you. You have to go to your computer and interact with people. You are a party in that interaction. And as a party in that interaction, you cannot be alleviated of your personal responsibility for whatever actions you take there. So if you don't think that you are prepared for what may come in the process of interacting with other people on social media because it might be mean or whatever, then you need to pull a Will Wheaton and block 12,000 people.
You know, my head photoshopped onto unattractive bodies, this kind of thing, pictures of me manipulated to look horrible or whatever. And the fact is that I'm not the first or the last person to have been on the receiving end of this kind of onslaught.
People made fun of you on the internet, you didn't like it, and instead of saying to yourself, why does this bother me? Or why do I care what people on the internet think? And trying to fix the problem with the first thing that is within your control, namely your own thoughts and opinions, your solution is to try to censor the internet.
Lots and lots of women have been affected by this.
And lots of women have been unaffected by this because they don't give a crap about what internet trolls say.
Criticism
I
afterwards.
don't say anything outrageous.
Ridicule, let me finish. I'll let you finish.
Let me finish. I let you finish. That single comment right there pretty much shines a spotlight on how déclassé and rude these feminists are, constantly interrupting and talking over anybody else who tries to say anything that disagrees with them. And I take umbrage with this because the type of behavior that they are soliciting protection for is the ability to shout down their detractors in lieu of making a rational argument. They want the protected ability to be able to levy accusations of illegal activity against another person without having to take responsibility and have accountability for those accusations. And just like the gentleman at the beginning of the show did not want himself to be represented by the vacuous Milo as a man, I, as a woman, do not want to be represented by those disingenuous harpies.
I'll let you finish, so stop. You know,
no.
After...
Because you don't have to afford your debate opponents the same respect that you're demanding? Hypocritical much?
Pew Global Data from 2014 shows is that actually it's men who get more abuse online than women. It is men who get more death threats. It's men who...
Why should anybody listen to you, Kate? At no point in this entire debate do you make even one reference to a citation that would support your counterclaim to Milo.
It's amazing
not
how
only
much
a
airtime you're getting.
It's amazing how much airtime you're getting. It's amazing how feminists can't let their opponents speak uninterrupted.
Wait, let him finish.
Now, it's interesting, isn't it?
Why should we let him finish?
Time?
Why should you let him finish? Perhaps because you expect people to let you finish when you speak.
I think it's a shame that people give airtime to somebody, you know, whose views and whose completely horrific statements have been so widely seen.
And I think it's a shame that airtime is given to women like you, who are so fragile that you can't bear to hear ideas you don't like.
That if we want young people to speak out and to feel comfortable expressing themselves, then what we need to do is make the internet a place where they can do so. That means bringing in sensible laws and training the police more.
No. If people want to feel comfortable speaking out, then they need to learn how to critically assess and challenge ideas, not silence the voice of dissenters and make the whole internet a safe space. And as for bringing in laws and the police, there are cyber terrorism laws. There are laws that pertain to harassment online. I'll put links to those in the low bar.
And I think that when we see a few high-profile individuals, perhaps including some in this studio, locked up.
Kate, you actually just suggested that somebody go to jail over mean words. What a pathetic and embarrassing example you are to all but the most timid and self-conscious of women. And worse yet, you try to leverage your own personal self-consciousness and vulnerability as an excuse to censor and silence other people. That is disgusting. The price that people pay for speaking their mind is that other people also get to speak their mind, and that they might have opinions about your opinions that you don't like. If you are not ready to deal with that kind of potential backlash, then
proclaim it, Westmoreland, through my host, that he which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart.
The internet should never be a safe space. The internet women should be able to experience everything about public life. We fought for that throughout history, and here's somebody who wants to shut us away from it.
reach on, sister.
What have you gone through?
So this has been really dreadful, and it's kind of exhibited here by the way Milo felt he could just shout abuse across the studio at me.
He didn't just randomly shout abuse at you. You levied a baseless accusation against him, and he called you a liar for it.
These people are very loud, and these people are very determined to shut a lot of people up.
You mean in the way that you talk over your opponents, you want people to go to jail for mean words, you want Twitter to censor people off of its platform because of bad things that they say? Shut people up like that?
I don't have to even defend myself as a journalist.
Tim Hunt is a Nobel Prize-winning scientist. He has contributed more to the overall body of knowledge for mankind than you can ever dream to. But you think that all because of a joke that you found distasteful, it is justified to ruin his entire career, to make it such that if he ever wants to work again, he and his wife both have to move out of this country and take jobs elsewhere, away from their homes and their families and everybody that they know. You think that's okay? All because of a joke that you didn't like?
I didn't just have abuse online. I had lots of letters sent to my office that were very racist. People would phone me up and scream really racist things. They would send me pictures of monkeys hanging in trees.
You ruined someone's career over a joke, and you're upset because people sent you hate mail?
Milo just called for somebody to be assassinated. Twitter essentially struck him off.
You're saying he didn't?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. What was the tweet?
Of course, he's
What was
lying.
the tweet? What was the wording of the tweet? What did it say?
So actually, we don't need to believe everything he's saying.
Actually, what we should believe is evidence, and since you have not presented any evidence for your baseless claim, we shouldn't believe you.
How did he call for
Right.
someone's assassination?
He called for it on a tweet.
Well there, circular much, Connie? I just want to review really fast. You accused Milo of calling for someone's assassination on Twitter, and when you're asked how he called for that assassination, you say, by making a tweet. Of course he did it by making a tweet. The only way to communicate with people on Twitter is by making tweets.
Like, they've been abused. They need to be held...
I defend anybody's right to say anything, and that's the important distinction between what I'm saying, what everybody else is saying, is that I think you should be able to say the most abhorrent, the most awful things, because words are words, and especially on Twitter.
And I'd like to go on record as making the intellectual distinction that supporting somebody's right to say something is not the same as endorsing everything they may choose to say with that right.
Internet abuse is a very real thing, and it silences women's voices. It makes women afraid to speak out. And there's
If you're any kind of like intellectual person or with half a brain, you'd laugh at such rubbish.
I want to take a minute to really explore this last bit out loud because it is hands down the statement that rankles me the absolute most. Kate said that internet abuse silences women and it makes them afraid to speak out, and I really object to this notion for two major reasons. First, no rational person could look at the Pew Data, which clearly shows that women get less harassment overall and experience better receptivity in online communities, and then conclude that women are silenced on the internet. Women's voices are louder than they have ever been in all of history. And in fact, they are so loud that Kate is able to sit there on that stage and she can demand silence. She can demand the courtesy of silence as she speaks without having to reciprocate that same courtesy to her opponents. And somehow people still think that she is the poor oppressed one. The second reason that I object is a little more convoluted, so you'll have to bear with me on this one. Things do not scare us. We are scared of things. And if anything silences women's voices, it isn't that they're being harassed, it is they are afraid of harassment, and that leads to self-censorship. Although this nuance may seem semantic, recognizing it is really a critical switch at the junction of personal empowerment. To adopt the notion that you are subject to outside things that would scare you, as Kate would have you do, is to relinquish your autonomy, and it is to declare yourself helplessly at the mercy of any external stimuli with no personal power to do anything about it. Kate would have you believe that the only response to somebody trying to intimidate you is that you be intimidated and subjugated, and that simply isn't the case. We do have the ability to overcome that which frightens us or hurts our self-esteem, and we don't have to be a victim to it. Emotions arise from inside of us. We are their one and only origin. Stimuli that gives rise to those emotions can be external, but the emotions themselves are a biochemical process of our own psyches. We experience things like fear or intimidation not because those external factors impose that upon us, but because of the value attachment that we have to those external factors. And facing and overcoming challenges is exactly what gives a person the internal fortitude to overcome scary or intimidating things. There is no other way to do it. And it is your responsibility to either own your own emotions and rise to the occasion, or to concede the floor. The notion that people need to walk on the eggshells of every possible insecurity of every other person is not only an untenable and unrealistic social model, it is the veritable Harrison Bergeron of world building.
What's he that wishes so?
And here in my little corner of the internet, and speaking only for myself, I don't want to be categorized with women like Kate by the happenstance of sharing a gender. I want to earn merit based on the validity of my ideas and skills, not because I was given a handicap.
Bid them achieve me and then sell my bones.
I don't believe that destroying the livelihoods of other people because of off-color jokes is anything remotely like an egalitarian world. Throwing people in jail for mere comments on the internet isn't justice. It is not a suitable response to the offense. And it is deplorable that Kate, who demands that other people make exceptions for her, turns around and plays the tyrant with that very generosity. It is embarrassing, it is shameful that Kate and Connie would behave in such a vindictive and unscrupulous way, and that they are the ones who are given the stage as representatives of women. If the only retort that I can make is to say out loud that I don't want to be lumped in with women like that, then consider it said. They are the cowards who want glory and honor without the fight. They are hypocrites who want respect without having to be respectful, and they want recognition without merit. And I don't want any part of being associated with that type of person. All the people throughout history that we call great and brave and courageous, they are the people that, regardless of their fear, face their challenges anyway. They surmount their trials. That is the type of person I would rather be associated with. Thank you everybody for watching today. If you like what you see, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you feel really generous, you can hop on over to my Patreon and show me some support there. Plus, I've decided to try to make it a little bit fun this year by adding some Patreon awards to my account. So I hope to see you all next time.
We would not die in that man's company that fears his fellowship to die with us. All things are ready if our minds be so.